Hello. We
What a
were,
week.
yes, we remembered to do the recap. Yay, us.
Yay. Yay, us.
So it's not been too long. What do you think? What's your general impression of week four?
Uh, Good week overall. The one thing I want to call out is the overrated game bowl of Illinois, Indiana, where,
Wow.
I mean, how did Illinois, like, go back to my video, and
Yeah,
I'm just like, this is
yeah.
ridiculous. How is Illinois this high top 10? Well, that was proved. Like, why on earth are they
Indiana
top
might have
10?
proven themselves a threat.
Oh man. And Indiana, yeah, I'm a little more of a believer in them, but not like top 10 still. Like just because of the history. Like they haven't played anyone really anyone
Yeah.
they played that's of consequence, they lose. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not counting Illinois as someone of consequence because they are not a number 9 ranked team like at all.
Yeah.
So, that was crazy. We were both right on the upset pick, and
Yes.
I don't know if it was the game of the week because Texas Tech ended up beating them pretty handily, but for the first half,
The first half, it was
it was
pretty,
like,
it
whoa,
was a gridlock, a defensive battle.
yeah,
Really is what it was. I mean, I think Texas Tech got a quick point, but then it really, until kind of late third,
yeah.
they didn't quite doing any, like both teams weren't doing much. So, um,
Which credit to both of us. Also, we were kind of like that UCLA win doesn't look as good. The rocky start for Utah, Wyoming, like all the things we pointed out about Utah
played into it.
were true. So two
Well,
for
what was
two there.
what was interesting, I was watching, I just saw the scores just briefly of the Colorado Wyoming game. So Colorado was up on Wyoming before the half, pretty
Yeah,
good there. And I was all of a sudden like, okay, okay. From what I know, Colorado's not good.
right.
So here we go again with kind of all the different layers of
Mhm.
complication when it comes to like really placing these teams where they need to be.
Yeah.
So,
What else was interesting?
well, I do want to point out too, even though you and I both called it an
Yeah,
upset, neither of us picked
neither
it.
of us picked them. Yep.
Which can be true. All things can be true at the same time because we had our strategies going. But anyway,
I
thought that
was
was
kicking
funny.
myself about that one,
Yeah, me too.
but oh well.
Oh
Yeah,
well.
what can you do? BYU, their defense was nuts, like just insanely good. Offense was a little shaky in the first half, but that second half Bear came alive and
Yeah, yeah.
well, and they even showed flashes in the first. I was like, if he
They
could
just
just
they just
be
didn't capitalize in
consistent,
the red zone. Yeah,
yeah, if you
yeah,
could just be consistent because he was throwing high and low and probably a little nervous. And then that second half, they got it rolling and they were good. And I was like, okay, if this is them and he can keep improving week to week like this, like they're going to be
yeah,
dangerous with that defense that they have.
yeah. All right.
So
Those are some good impressions, and I think it'll be interesting to kind of walk down this list. I won't mention the ones we've kind of talked about already, but
yeah,
um, let me start at the top this time. Miami and Florida.
yeah, you were right on that. I was nervous,
I was not.
and you're like Miami was going to kill him, and maybe they
Well,
didn't
they didn't kill him.
kill him, but
Miami made me nervous for a minute because it was like at one point it was 13-7, and I was like, oh my goodness, please,
yeah,
Miami, don't make. But the thing is, I feel like they started playing better because I only got to watch the second half, so that's, no, just
yeah.
kidding. But I do feel bad for Florida. I mean, I feel like they're a team that can that holds their own for the most part with some of these teams like LSU and all these other. They just they're an above average team playing elite teams. And I
Mhm.
think they're gonna keep getting knocked around until they start to play, but their schedule doesn't allow for them to meet an above average or less than average team
Yeah,
really all season.
yeah,
And so I feel bad for Billy Napier because I feel like his record won't really reflect the higher quality of that team, but who they're going up against. I mean, Miami jumped to number two in the
yeah.
AP polls, so I was like, I mean, and
Which
again. That that's
it's hard
hard
to
to debate
knock
that.
that at the moment. Yeah.
And really getting to know Carson Beck a little bit more. I mean, they did kind of a piece on him in College Game Day. I thought that I mean, he's something I'm starting to believe in. Do I think, okay, here's the real question. Do I think they're good enough to beat Ohio State? I don't know. I mean, like that's one I'd be like, that makes me uncomfortable.
The
But that might be the
yeah,
national championship game for all we know. So who knows?
yeah. And Ohio State, I just don't know about them. I know they beat Texas, but feel like
Well, we heard about that game and then
Texas
nothing else.
has some question marks. Yeah, and now I think they had a bye this week,
Yeah.
and but they're gonna start. I think anyway. They're gonna start to play some teams
Yeah.
because the Big Ten I think only has like three, maybe four like good like elite teams, and everyone else is kind of like
Yeah.
middle of the pack. Anyway, that's not why we're here to talk about Ohio State. So I'll get
We'll
off.
get to them another day, I guess. Um, okay, let's talk Arkansas, Memphis.
I
Okay,
was
was
like,
I also right on Memphis
I know,
too?
I was like, Arkansas got this, and they were losing on the 9 yard line. They fumble it. I'm like down by one,
Yeah, that
but Memphis, I don't know if I'm ready to say, yeah, they're the college football playoff group of five, but maybe like
they
I'm
could contend for it if they continue to
yeah,
play out like this. The
I'm
thing
not
is,
saying they're not, but yeah,
they would have to blow up the USA conference. If they're
yeah,
American USA, I can't remember.
I
Anyway,
forget.
whatever conference they're in, the rest of the season, like I'm talking big numbers to probably be because really at this point, their preseason is actually when they're playing ranked teams,
Yeah,
right? So now
or
they're going to go back to playing kind of what we would consider cupcake teams for our teams.
or Power Four, yeah,
Yeah, so they would have to do some pretty strong damage to be able to do that. And it's not like they're Boise State where they have one standout player. They have, I
yeah,
mean, the team structure is pretty. I just don't know anything. And really, what's sad is I feel like nobody has showcased them.
yeah,
So I'm kind of getting ready for College Game Day or somebody else, Big Noon kickoff, to do some sort of expose on Memphis because it's like, what is going on over there?
yeah.
Who is in charge of this? Is it one player? Is it five? Is it the coach? Who, like, what constituted all these really decent wins to pull off an SEC win? I mean, that's huge for that team. Huge
Yeah,
for that team. We don't know where Arkansas technically sits. I would say
right.
mid-table probably, but still, that's not Mississippi State. That's Arkansas.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, we'll see. Definitely worth keeping an eye on. And you never know. Like Boise State last year, and granted, people love Boise State.
Mm.
Like they ended up, getting a bye, which was
Yeah.
like kind of nuts. And I know, like, I
They've
love their running
changed.
back. Their running
Yeah.
back is awesome, but like,
Gentry, yeah.
even if you looked at their schedule, it's like you really haven't done much though. Like, so that's where the playoff committee. It's
Well, what's
annoying.
even more crazy is as I was looking at the new top 25 list, Mississippi State got votes. And I was like, really? I'm sorry. What? Because they beat Arizona State? Like, I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know. So I don't know what we're all voting and what that structure is like,
no
but
one knows.
it's kind of fun.
It's
Anyway,
stupid.
all
Yeah,
right. UCF in North Carolina.
shocker. Like
Shocker.
I like how bad it
North
was.
Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, Belichick was preseason and that first game. Oh man, ESPN loved Belichick
Oh
talking
my
Belichick.
gosh.
And, oh, he's gonna revolutionize. It's like, yeah, it's tough. It's different. I mean, college game is different than pro, and you
Yeah.
know, but UCF now I'm kind of like that's a tough with UCF because I'm not sold on them yet because North Carolina hasn't shown me much. So
Yeah, so we don't know. Are they like a
yeah, you
UCLA? Are
killed
they
you
like
killed kind
a
of a bad
yeah?
team, but or are they good? So we'll see. We'll see with UCF, but I think we can kind of.
It
I mean, North
legitimizes the
Carolina,
Big 12. I
yeah,
mean, like,
yeah,
yeah.
and North Carolina, they might play for pride. Maybe they improve, and then next year, Belichick's like, I've learned a lot. Now we're going, but like maybe this year is just a rough first lesson in college football.
Well, and also, it would. I mean, it would shock me. I mean, again, it goes back to I wouldn't have been shocked with Bill Belichick, but to wrangle a brand new championship ready team in less than a year,
Yeah,
that's
no,
not going to happen. So he's going to have to ride the rocky ride for the next couple of years. I mean, because like the stuff I've been listening to and what I know, and even my professional life and developing courses and stuff, it normally takes 2 to 3 years to really legitimize and actualize. a program. Because also too, let's even say you do recruiting for this. He got recruits, you know,
Mhm.
those recruits aren't necessarily going to peak
Right.
until another
They
couple of
got to
years.
develop
So he's. I wonder if Belichick is in it for the long run, or was he just looking for a way to slap the NFL in the face?
maybe. Who knows?
And I was like, now the NFL's like, yeah. So thanks for proving our point. You
And
know?
the thing with Belichick is like I was never rooting against him either. Like I think some
No,
like
I
oh,
was kind of like,
it's just kind of like ooh.
well, it was a little painful because it's like, at least, I got Coach Prime when he came on the scene, he kind of ran the same risk, right? But he at least sustained some level of like, okay. I mean, he
He's still
wasn't going to make a
there. Yeah,
national run, but I was like, all right, okay. But he also had Travis Hunter and,
yeah,
whatever his sons were doing. So the difference between all of that is, like, to your point, I still have respect for Belichick and what he's done. And I don't think this necessarily negates it, but it just goes back to show, hey, he's human, man. And
yeah,
every coach has to do the work to get these players ready and get
right.
the institution ready as well. So,
Yeah, yeah.
which is another reason why I'm sure it's going to take a lot of work to find a really legitimate, like high level legitimate coach for like a UCLA team because they're like,
Oh,
dude, I'd have to be pretty young in my career to and sustainably want to live in, California for a while to take that one on.
yeah. Need some longevity or something from some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next,
All right, TCU and SMU.
TCU pulled it out.
That was
Uh,
close. That was closer
yeah,
than I thought it should be.
and I guess I saw that's the last one they have scheduled. They played like 104 times, and that's the last one
Oh,
scheduled.
Skillet. They
First year
played
won't be
Skillet or whatever it was.
Yeah. So I think TCU is better than people think. They got ranked right above BYU, the 24
Yeah.
TCU and 25 BYU. So I think they're getting some looks. And
Hmm.
man, I look at BYU's schedule where they're going to play Utah. I forget the order, but Utah,
Yeah,
Texas
Texas
Tech,
Tech and TCU.
TCU, and Iowa State. And I'm like, holy cow.
Well,
That's
it's funny too because I knew this would happen. So I bought season tickets to BYU, and everybody was mad that they didn't get the BYU or the Utah game. And they're like, "Well, I don't want to go to I guess TCU is going to be a good game." Da, da, da. And now
yeah.
it's like, "Oh, I want to go to the
But
TCU game."
that's going to
It's
be
like,
yeah.
okay.
I feel like
And we
that
don't play
is kind of
Texas Tech at home, and that would have been a good game too. I don't know if I want to watch that many losses at home, but
yeah.
anyway, like,
And
yeah,
the TCU at home game for BYU, that's a little callback to Mountain West, when
yeah.
you came in and kind of pushed BYU around a bit. So it should be.
It'll be interesting. So, I mean, I have to give TCU credit because they're holding their own.
Mhm.
Again, I think what's hard is it feels like the ACC, it's a bit of a jumble to me right now because I
Miami
feel like it's
and
starting to be
everyone else.
inverse. Well,
Yeah.
Miami, Florida State, you know,
Florida State, I
Florida
guess.
State, and then Georgia Tech, which is kind of like hovering towards the top
Yeah.
because we still don't know what they can do. They just did something really impressive. But is it impressive? Because also Clemson lost to
That
Syracuse
was
at
that was
home.
gonna be my bonus game to wait, that wasn't a pick, but my bonus game to talk about was like what?
What
Like the
happened?
crazy thing is that like halftime people were like, we're gonna talk about Clemson's struggles. I'm like, so you're talking about a 1-3 team? What other
Like, can we drop them
time are we
from the
talking about one and
conversation?
three team? Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe take Dabo's advice because he's like, "What? Fire me? I've been winning," and I was like, "Don't tempt them." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
yeah, he's got a couple championship or a championship. I forget if
two,
that's two or
two.
one. So he got two.
Mhm.
He's had some subpar years, and I'm wondering if just a disastrous year could do it. Plus,
Well,
I think
yeah,
he doesn't use the portal,
doesn't
so
and
he's not
NIL. He's
evolving.
not really bought into
He's
that.
not evolving in that whole thing. So it's like, are you being
It's gonna
left behind?
force his hand. It's gonna
Yeah.
force his hand.
Or it's going to force the board's hand to be like,
Well, we need somebody who will.
yeah, we need someone who's willing to do this.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
anyway,
Yeah,
little tidbits there.
well, and also too, the other questioning that kind of going back to the ACC question, is Syracuse good? I mean, they hung with
Yeah,
Tennessee for a little while. So I think back to the ACC, I feel like we've got some contenders in the top that are like, we've got some real good. I mean, Florida teams are doing good. You've got
yeah,
some like honorable mentions to be like, I don't know, I don't know what you're gonna
yeah,
do, and then you've got
yeah,
your wah wah, for
yeah,
Clemson. Because wasn't somebody like predicting them to be in the national championship? And I was like,
yeah.
calm
I
down,
mean, they started
like,
five, top 10 for sure.
yeah,
And I'm just like,
wow.
I don't get, and that's kind of what happened to Utah. They had one win, and everyone remembered their Pac 12 days when they went to two Rose Bowls. It's like, but what did they do last year? I hate how people rank on history because it's like it
Yeah.
doesn't win you games now. Like,
Um,
and look at the immediate history. Illinois, look at the immediate Utah, look at the immediate history. Like, yes, transfer
Because
portal
that's
can
what's
change
relevant. Those
exactly.
are the players on the field. So why are we talking about, well, and maybe the only thing that's sustainable from those years are the coaching staff or maybe the athletic director or something, but as like the biggest variable for like consequential change is the players that are on the field. So let's be talking about that. Because it was funny also, um, I mean, to hear, since we're in Utah, Kyle Whittingham's like pre-game, he was like, "This is the best. I've coached a lot. This is the best offensive line I've ever coached." And then his post game was like, "We had, we lost it on the line." I was like,
But it was your
so
bet.
like, I don't know,
But
whatever.
what's he gonna say before? Like, you're not gonna tear down your team or
Well, but to say the best team, best
yeah,
offensive line he's ever coached, I'm like, wow. I mean, that's one way to pump up your team through the media,
yeah.
to do it that way. But I was like, all right, really? Anyway, and then I bet to the same sense we're talking about that one, I think it was the next one anyway. Texas Tech actually showed up. I mean, I'm getting scared as a
With a back
BYU
with a
fan.
quarterback for a lot of the game too.
Well, yeah, and that quarterback, the backup quarterback did pretty dang well. I was like impressed. And so, man, it was a defensive battle that I think Utah just wore down. Their defense wore down. So what I realized with all these Big 12 games is I think it's going to come down to defense.
Uh,
And how long your defense can last and kind of go back how deep in this, how many starters and secondary and third can you go to have high quality people to maintain your stamina for their whole game? Because I feel like that's where Utah kind of lost, is they just ran out of steam. They just couldn't hold it.
just crazy with the elevation. I know people
I
right,
know, yeah.
but it's like, hey, it was in your favor. Anyway, but yeah, that was yeah, I know we talked about it, but Texas Tech, the Big 12, that's the thing. SEC, Big 10, even ACC, they always have like a like what do they call it? A cowbell or whatever the saying is, but they have their top two that's like they're gonna get to the playoff.
Yeah. They're
Big 12
selected.
is figuring out it's like they need someone who, yeah, is gonna just be there,
Hmm.
Texas Tech, and then hopefully you have two or three others that are like right there and they're in the championship and they get in champion conference championship and then they get into the playoff also. So um but the tough thing is, I mean, what I'm seeing, and this has been said, this isn't new, but Big 12's parity is unmatched. I mean,
Yeah,
Big
nobody can.
10
Yeah.
SEC bottom feeders are bad.
Mhm.
And even ACC is bad. And I know the Big 12's bottom feeders are bad, but that middle section is way better than any.
Well, I feel like there's not much of a middle section of the Big 12. That's what makes it the parity so strong. And I think I mean, I was thinking about this. I have a friend at Wisconsin and I just kept thinking it would be such a bummer to be a team in that league
It works.
because you would have to every year be like the biggest question we have to ask ourselves is can we beat Ohio State? And if the answer is no, then you're kind of screwed. So like what's nice about living in a world in the Big 12 is it's a possible, I mean, at least it's a possibility, you
Yeah,
know? Um,
totally.
and so it stands out like, and it also goes back to like, I don't know, some questions for some of these conference presidents, which is like, are they heavily investing in these one or two people that can pull out the dream of the SEC or the ACC or the Big Ten winning? Because I feel like whatever the Big 12 conference guy is doing is, I don't know, and I haven't heard anything from him, so this is very ignorant. But I'm like, it feels like if he's feeding a parity system, I think hopefully there's some attraction that starts to pull there. Because you have to, I know Florida State wants to get out of the ACC, but you have to almost like, where do you want to, okay, you want to go to the SEC?
Yeah.
Because
Then you'll,
really, there's some chosen leaders there. I do think there's starting to be more parity in the SEC, though.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree. Which, and I was saying this to someone today. I think NIL is making
parity
even
real.
the
Hmm.
parity
Hmm.
within the SEC, within Big 12,
Big 12 not, or Big
not
10
quite,
not yet.
and
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
but like NIL is helping that because it's not just like, oh yeah, Georgia or
Hmm.
Alabama. Like
Hmm.
it's always those two, how it's been for 2 decades.
Hmm.
Um, and same with, well, Big 10, it's still Ohio State, but it's like, who else? Like Wisconsin lost yesterday, bad. And it's like, okay, so Wisconsin used to be up there. Michigan won 2 years ago, but they're kind of like, where are they? I don't know.
And yeah, and we'll
And
get to that game, but
so,
like, yeah.
yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like, there are more. What we should do is just show the list, not this, not right now, but like the list of the conferences and be like, okay, so who's the top teams? And I think you're losing a lot. I think Nebraska, there's a lot of schools like this, but that's the biggest cautionary tale. They were great in the Big 12 with Texas, with Oklahoma. It was awesome. They go to the Big 10 and they've just kind of been
Mhm.
ho hum, like middle of the pack or bad. So,
Yeah, and I think really all you can aspire to in the Big Ten is the middle of the pack. I mean, that's unless you have the kind of donor dollars and like funding to go all in. I think who was it? I can't remember. Oh, it was Georgia Virginia Tech that was like, we're pushing all our chips in. We're gonna like go big on the money and the funding and all these other things and actually try to really make this program what it is. And really that's what they have to do. But what if your school's already there with all of
yeah.
your chips in the middle and you're like, we have no more wings to kind of, I mean, so I feel like some schools probably are like, okay, we have some areas we can pull from. But if you're a school that's already maxed out all of your funding sources, then that might be it for you. And so, like, I don't know, maybe this new Phantom Conference, let's call it the Pac-Man, just kidding, I don't know. The whatever it's gonna be, I mean, there might be some hype for these other schools to be like, get me out of this other conference so that we can, I mean, one of the hugest things that kind of chimes into the parody of the SEC is Vanderbilt. Like that's not a game I don't think that was on our list either. And I was just like, slow clap.
Oh,
I didn't even watch it, but I watched the score and I'm like, I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that game because Diego Pavia is somebody that I'm really starting to like. But man, what a rise from the ashes
yeah.
story.
Well,
And
they got it's a smart
they've got
school with
money.
a lot of money.
They
So
got a big and very rich donor base. So all of a
yeah.
sudden, when the donor starts to see the possibilities, they'll push the money into the table. But like, yeah, it's been interesting just to watch in general. But anyway,
What I
that was a long,
interesting the next round of realignment is the money. Like, will
yeah,
a Big Ten or SEC be like, whoa, Texas Tech, they have this billionaire
billionaire.
willing to put in money.
It's kind of like the
We
Premier League
yeah,
idea,
we want that.
Yeah.
Oh, like this school has a lot of backers, and then or maybe if it's like, Iowa State's come out and said, hey, they're struggling with budgets. It's like, sorry, you're good, but we need people with money. We need people with donors. So
Yeah. So maybe they're going to start letting people in, like families into their schools that they're like, oh, they're rich, right?
that I don't know if it'll happen, but I think it's an angle to watch. I mean, like
Yeah, right.
who's getting top recruits and with money and stuff. Anyway,
Yeah, it'll be an
well,
interesting. We're
I
in
was
an interesting era, but writing out the parody right now has actually kind of been fun. So,
well. Sorry, last thing on this. Like you look at maybe I've said this. You look at the NFL
mhm.
and there's parity things
Yeah,
like you're going to have some
the
dynasty,
Chiefs just lost two times. I
but
mean, like,
but,
yeah,
but you don't have an Ohio State who's good every single year, and even if they lose a championship, they're still there.
yeah,
Like still up there. And if you did, I think you'd have an uproar of fans. It's like, Commissioner, do something. Like the dominate. Like people don't want that. But then for some reason, you get to college, and the analysts and everyone's like, "Yep, best school, best school, best school, best school." It's like, yeah, but this is boring. Like it.
yeah. And I think that's why we're starting to see that. Didn't I? I think I might have mentioned this too, but I heard like this season has been a huge uptick in people watching college football games because people are like, oh, my team might actually go. I mean, just the fact, and BYU North or East Carolina is the next game, but like that East Carolina stadium of 60,000 people, like what that was packed. It wasn't at the end, but that was packed to
Right.
begin with, which I'm like, I mean, and no, I mean, I don't know enough about North Carolina, but I was like, what would draw them in? All like 60,000 people in North Carolina to go and see a game like that
Yeah.
if they didn't think that it might matter to
There's
them.
a chance.
There's
Yeah,
a
it would
chance.
be a big boost if they did. Well, if you don't have hope, why
Then why you play? Do
look
you
at
play to
look
get recruited? Like, do you
right?
play to enter the transfer portal? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway,
and
uh,
okay.
sorry.
So BYU and East Carolina, we talked briefly about them. You did. I think I concur with almost everything you said. It's stressful as a BYU fan to watch a very unproductive first half. But I think, I mean, but like you said, I was like, they've got something. They're just needing to put some of it
Well,
together. And man, there was a lot of calls in that game. I'm just like, It was just let the
Some
kids play.
phantom,
I mean, my
like
gosh.
almost back-to-back PI calls on BYU. One, I'll give you
Yeah,
one because I did see the guy pull down, and I was like, hey, if you think the penalty at BYU Utah last year was a penalty, then that
that's
was.
a penalty. Yeah.
Uh, but
But
the
the Phantom one, the one where they run into each other?
yeah, but it was the second one after that where the guy just kind of ran with him, and they called PI. I'm like, that one, not so much, but
Like even the guy came back laughing. He was like, "Wait, what?"
right. But that guy, the guy who got two interceptions, Johnson, I think,
Yeah.
saved on the goal line, and then going into half, I think that one right at the half, that pick six for like
Mhm.
2 yards, that was kind of the change. That
The
was
game
the momentum
changer.
shift. That
Mhm.
it's just like here we
Well, from there on out, you saw Bear Bachhammer actually
yeah,
Bachmeyer. I want to say Bach. Anyway, you see Barrett kind of come out with confidence. Like
yeah.
for some reason, all of a sudden he's like, "We can do this. Let's do
I
it." Like
almost think he had enough breathing room
he
where he's
had
like,
some cushion.
okay, they need two scores now. It's not a tight game, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I think so too. All right, we talked about Indiana, Illinois. I don't know if that one deserves much more air, unless you
The
got something to say.
last thing, how is Illinois still ranked?
Are they still
They're
ranked?
like 22nd or 23rd.
Oh my
Like you
goodness.
lost by 50 something points.
I
I know.
didn't see that.
Uh,
Oh my gosh.
Also, Notre Dame moved up with their little win against Purdue. They're
Which, let's be
2.
honest, should have been more. I mean, for what I know about Purdue, that actually made me like worry about Notre Dame more.
They're 1-2. Notre Dame should not be ranked 1-2 against, and their one win is against a bad team. It's ridiculous.
Well, what we're starting to see here is massive bias. I mean,
Oh,
massive bias. I mean, yeah. I think we need to start letting the computer pick stuff moving anyway. And that even has some weird stuff in the very beginning, but yeah. All right. So the next one is Duke and North Carolina State. I didn't watch that
didn't watch
game.
that one. What
Yeah.
was the final score? Do you have that
It was
up?
45 Duke, North Carolina State 33. And actually I feel like it was kind of neck and neck most of the game from
Yeah,
when I was checking in.
I
So
yep. I followed that one because I needed that at my work pick'em, uh,
and
and I needed
you
that
needed that
to
against Dad.
and I needed So I'm glad Duke won. Actually, I did think I flipped it on for a couple seconds, but I didn't. I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah. Um, okay, so we talked about Utah and Texas Tech. I don't really have too much more
Yeah,
there.
kind of killed.
Um, what?
We kind of killed that one.
We kill that one. Call us if you want to know more. I'm sure we could come up with something. Baylor and Arizona State.
Man, I just followed the score on this one,
This was,
but
yeah.
it was neck and neck.
This is kind of an example of the parity we're talking about in the Big 12, where I was like, wow. I mean, I feel like I didn't watch it, and so I have to preface it with that. I feel like it probably came down to who had the ball last
It
from
did.
what
It was
it
a
looked like.
final as the walk-off field goal,
Yeah.
Arizona State.
So, I mean, and clock management. So, Arizona State sounds like, but also this also starts to give some street, and maybe that's why Mississippi State got some point or some votes, because they're like, well, hold on, Baylor and Auburn and all, I'm like, there's just so many complicated layers now to all of
Yeah,
these ideas. But I did think Baylor was going to win. I didn't think it would be by much. So am I shocked? No, because this
right.
was one that I think on almost every strategy was way low down. So it was my two, it was somebody else's one. So I'm feeling fine about that. And good for Arizona State.
Yeah,
I think,
I don't know that they're. I'm not back with them like, oh, they're competing for a Big 12 championship, but
but they're in
they're
the,
good. They're
but
good. And
they've
Baylor,
gained some, garnered some respect. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So good game.
Good game. And then Nebraska and Michigan. That's our last one.
What was the final score on that? I forget.
It was actually close. It was Michigan 30, Nebraska 27. So
Okay.
I watched pieces of this all day. I, I mean, I feel like Michigan caught more breaks and then Nebraska just they kind of shot themselves in the foot once or twice.
Hmm.
But they were at home, so they had that home energy. So to that point, I think I was rooting for Nebraska, just found myself rooting for Nebraska because I was like, I don't know, like I kind of want to see some of these lower Big Ten teams start to really emerge. But I think this is, if we're going to talk that Baylor and Arizona State, I mean, this is a similar version in the Big Ten to the Big 12, where it's like these two probably mid-table teams that fought it out and did a pretty decent
Yeah,
job fighting
good.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking for a good game. That was it. I just I know I said it before, but it's kind of sad because the Nebraska I grew up with was like competing for a national championship.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's a whole generation that just knows Nebraska is mediocre to bad
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
And but I think a lot of the voters, not that they're putting them up there, they've been bad enough years that they're not starting ranked,
Well,
whatever. And but
yeah,
yeah,
and the bar's pretty high for Nebraska to actually turn anybody's mind. To be
yeah,
like,
oh yeah,
okay, you might have had a win or you might have been a close win, but we know that you're kind of crap and have been for a while. And
yeah.
that's there's a lot of teams in that category where they might get a good win. Like Georgia Tech's kind of a version of this, where it's like, you got a good win, but where have you been for the last how many years? And is this sustainable? So the sustainability of that win or even the bad loss is going to really speak volumes. And so that's
Well,
why I think there's still some very biased numbers up
oh
in
yeah.
there.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. College, we've kind of touched on this, but college football, for whatever reason, is the rankings and thoughts that people have about teams is so steeped in history that
Mhm.
it's kind of ridiculous actually that
Mhm.
it's just like what have you done for me lately? I don't really care because you used to be good. USC kind of falls in that
Yeah.
category too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like when they got ranked, like I'm not totally against it, but I'm still kind of like, but what did you do actually? I don't know. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, and
it's
there's a lot of people speaking of USC, there's a lot of people talking about USC right now.
well,
I, I
they're gonna be talked about because they're USC.
yeah, whether they talk about themselves or not.
Yeah,
But I feel like I don't know. It's one of those like there's a lot of it. There's a lot of teams in the corner of my eye like that because I have my own bias, even though I worked at
yeah.
USC.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just like I don't because I feel like also even being a fan of BYU, like I'm already with my my breakup ice cream for when I have to say goodbye to cheering for BYU at some point this year.
Yeah.
It happens every single year because like there's teams that you're like I don't know about you. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep you over here. I'm just gonna watch for a second. But I mean, this is probably the media too. But the moment you prove me right, and I know you're not that good, then it's forever over, no
Yeah.
matter
Like,
what you do for
yeah.
the rest of the season. And then yeah, and that happens a lot.
Honestly, I could see an argument for Utah still being ranked
They got
because
votes.
well, they got killed, but so did Illinois.
No, I mean they got votes. They got
Oh,
votes.
I know, but I'm saying like actually still top
Yeah,
25 because it's like okay, you still have three wins, one loss. Yeah, you got creamed, but you didn't get creamed by 53, and you actually, there's a little history there where Illinois doesn't. Anyway,
yeah.
the rankings are just
Well, Indiana broke a Big Ten record for like the most the most points scored against a top a
10,
top 10 team because
which should never been the top 10 team. Like it's
no.
ridiculous.
Well, and now they've made history in both teams in
Yeah,
the worst way possible.
yeah. Good job. But
Like, anyway, but no, it'll be an interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting season. I think this is the area where we start to bend and start to see some more predictability and start to actually gauge who belongs in that top 25. I
yeah,
feel like the top 10 is always going to be some sort of shift, like incremental shift all throughout the season. I feel like the biggest conversation pieces over the next several years or the next several weeks will be the bottom seven because they'll go in and out
yeah,
and then like maybe they go up a little bit and then they would have one bad game and they're wiped out. Like,
yeah.
so I think that's the most temperamental of the top 25 and it's the hardest to be in.
There's bias to moving people out too. Oh,
Yeah.
Arizona State, you were good. Oh, you lost, and I get it was to a bad Mississippi State team, but it's like you're completely out. Like didn't get votes or barely any
They
votes.
did get some votes this week.
Well,
Yeah.
but when they lost,
Yeah, when they lost, they were
for
out.
the Big 12, it's like if you lose in Big 12,
You're out.
bye
It's
bye.
it's
But if you lose,
that's the corner team that you're like, I don't know, you prove me right. You're out. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
you
yeah.
get one chance, and that's it. And
Yeah.
but the Big Ten SEC, you get multiple chances. Like Notre
If you're
Dame,
Notre Dame, you
Notre
never are
Dame,
out of the
I,
top 25.
like they get as many chances as they want. Um, what was it? Someone was saying, "Oh man, Nebraska." When we talked, I think you said like someone's like, "Oh, no, Nebraska's got a lot of good momentum going." And then I looked up who they played. I'm like, "Who said that?" Because they played a couple crap teams. Like what? Like yeah,
I was
momentum.
listening to somebody who said that, and I was like,
Um,
all right.
a win's a win. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. But like, I wouldn't call this momentum. Like this
Yeah.
isn't a like, oh, you've beaten a couple good teams. Yeah, now you got some momentum. This is like you're saving face with your cupcakes and
And you're paying them quite
quite
like
well,
handedly to actually beat them as bad as you did. So, yeah,
but
yeah,
having said all that, I do want to say I think BYU is still kind of that fringe. I think we
I think it will be for a while.
total blue goggles like on. It's like, okay, it's still
To me, until they play Texas Tech, then I won't know how good they
that'll
are.
be
And
yeah.
and I
Okay.
don't think we're playing Iowa State this year, are we?
No, I think we do. I
Oh,
think
we do?
I think in that stretch of four, it's like Utah, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and
TCU?
TCU.
I don't know. I feel like Iowa State wasn't on there. Well, we didn't play them last year, so I think we're playing them this year. You're
We
right.
are. So that'll be if we can get through Utah undefeated, and Arizona's going to be tough. We're at Arizona,
Yeah, Arizona's
but
gonna be tough too.
if we can get through Utah undefeated, and then
Then Central Florida is now starting to make me scared. Like, there's a lot of them that I'm like, wait, I thought we were gonna do well, but
Cincinnati did we play Cincinnati? They did good against
since you did,
uh,
yeah,
Georgia Tech. They almost beat them, and then Georgia Tech goes off, and they've been, kind
yeah,
of Cinderella so far. I think.
yeah. So I mean, it just kind of goes to prove, like when I first looked at the schedule this year, I was like, oh, the only good home game is gonna be is gonna be Utah. And then this year, and now I'm like,
Oh,
every single one of these games. I mean, West Virginia even. I was like, okay, I was
good
thank
win.
heavens for that one. And now I'm
Yeah,
like, did they just beat, who they beat Pitt? So I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's like you never know who's going to show up and how your players are going to be. But also, by the end of the season is when we're playing some of these bigger teams, and that also speaks to our own team of like who's going to be well, who's not going to be injured,
who's
who's going
healthy?
to be not injured on their team because it looks like Texas Tech might have a quarterback injury, but it
Yeah,
also looks like the guy that stepped in not bad.
you
I
know,
mean,
yeah.
so anyway, it's going to be a fun
But
season.
the great thing about college football, you
Yep.
can.
Keeps us commenting for no reason other than to have comments in general. So, anyway. All right. Well, we'll have to take a look at the new week next week and talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah.